Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawel. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Nunawel people, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, emerging leaders, and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders gathered here with us this afternoon. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. And as this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm also the Secretary of the Order of Australia, whose Council recommends appointments and awards in the Order's General Division to the Governor-General, who is both the Chancellor of the Order and the Principal Companion of the Order. And I'm also the Secretary of the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for bravery awards. Before we start the ceremony this afternoon, I'd like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests, Commodore Colin Dagg, representing the Chief of Navy, Brigadier Rebecca Talbot, representing the Chief of Army, Mr Andrew Shearer, Director General National Intelligence, Dr Shubho Banerjee, representing the Commissioner of the Australian Public Service, Dr Alan Morrison, representing the National President of the Order of Australia Association. Good afternoon and welcome all. The Australian Honour System provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Since its inception in 1975, almost 400,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, bravery, military or national service. And the Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising outstanding service, and it's important to note that nominations come from all areas of the community. Anyone can nominate. Today is a special day, not only for the recipients, but also for their friends, their families and the community. It's a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. My Government House colleagues and I are privileged to play a small part in the recognition of that service, and we look forward to making this afternoon an occasion you'll remember with joy for a long time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand as Their Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley enter the room. And then please remain standing and join in for the singing of the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin and proceed in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter from the doorway on my right, and after they've been invested by the Governor-General, will return to the back of the room to take up their seats, and it's at this point you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause. At the conclusion of the investiture ceremony, the Governor-General will say a few words, and after the ceremony is complete, I'll invite the recipients to join with Her Excellencies out on the state entrance stairs for an official photograph. And to assist with the recipients departing the room, I just invite the guests to remain briefly in here until the recipients have departed. Their Excellencies and the recipients will then enjoy refreshments with all guests in the dining room, or if the weather's kind, out on the lakeside terrace. So ladies and gentlemen, please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Mrs Hurley, and for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth adorned, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every state advance Australia bear. With joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
Good afternoon to all, and a very warm welcome from Linda and I and the staff here at Government House Yarralumla on a very special day for our recipients, somewhat nervously sitting in the back of the room there, families and friends who are here to share today, and of course for our country as we recognise those who have made significant contributions to it. Could I also begin by acknowledging that Yarralumla sits on the land of the Ngunnawal people. Thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country for generation after generation. Pay respects to their elders past and present, but particularly mindful today of our responsibility to the younger generation who are critical to the future of our country. Again, warm welcome. This is a very special occasion. You would have noticed, of course, we're all dressed up in our finery, as are you. On a special day, the military is all dressed so gloriously, as they always do. Look, I used to look like that to a degree myself. But why are we doing it? It's a special occasion. There's a lot of protocol and ceremony. Because today, through our honours and award system, which replaced the Imperial Award system in 1975, we recognise people across the breadth of our country for significant contribution to the betterment of Australia, either internationally, at home, or in small communities around our country. There is one, I think, perhaps unique characteristic about our honours and awards system, and that is it's a bottom-up system. What do I mean by that? Ours is not a system where elites in Canberra or any of the state capital cities look around, decide someone is doing a good job and say, I'm going to give them a medal. Every person in the general division of the Order of Australia, recipient in that order, who comes through the door here has been nominated by a peer, a member of the community. You do not become a recipient of an award under the Order of Australia if you are not nominated by a fellow Australian. I want you to bear that in mind because I'm going to issue some homework after we've completed the formal part of the ceremony. You will see today examples of people's commitment to our community across the breadth of activities. Of course, it's much broader than we see in the smaller ceremonies here in Canberra. But please use your imagination. You will know these people like them in our communities. Could I particularly thank the family members who are with us today, particularly partners. I know that no one can do what they do in support of the community, either in their work or in volunteer work, without support at home. This is very much recognition of your contribution to your country, as well as the recipients today. So thank you sincerely for what you do. The other important aspect, I think, of our awards today is that it just covers so many areas of activities. You'll be surprised. Today we've had people who write our laws. I get to sign them off or send to them quite frequently, but to meet the people who actually write them is amazing. To people who have served our country for 30 or 40 years in organisations like CWA, for people who look after our kids on the streets. Then we go to scientists who are changing the way we see the world, public servants who have played a dynamic role in addressing some of the big issues facing our country. The breadth is enormous. So again, enjoy that as you sit back there today and celebrate with us these significant achievements. After the ceremony, we will get to meet you all outside. I look forward to that. Please don't be shy. We won't be. Come around. Love to get to know you a bit better, celebrate with you and your family and friends, and enjoy this very special occasion. On that note now, I will now commence the official investiture ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of his appointment as a member of the Order in the General Division, Professor Kieran Kirk, for significant service to science education and research and to professional organisations. Professor Kirk is a leading biologist whose work, specifically in malaria research, is world-renowned. He has held a wide range of important roles at the Australian National University in the College of Science, mostly notably as the Dean, where he has presided over Australia's most research-intensive science faculty. He's overseen significant improvements in gender equity across the schools and helped foster a new environment of research translation, but has created a number of successful startup companies. He's also generously given of his time to the broader community, including serving as the chair of Clonakilla Wines and as a scientific board member at the Australian Wine Research Institute, where he's assisted our wine industry to increase its productivity in an increasingly competitive market. Professor Kirk's achievements are most noteworthy, and we honour him for his service today. Professor Kieran Kirk, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member of the Order in the Military Division, Rear Admiral Stephen Hughes, for exceptional service to the Australian Defence Force in senior command and staff roles. Rear Admiral Hughes has introduced new and sovereign intelligence capabilities for our nation through his superior devotion to duty. He was key to the accelerated development of Defence Project 799, which involved liaison with multiple stakeholders across government, industry and allied partners to ensure the project's successful government approval. Additionally, he was instrumental in having the United States fundamentally shift policy in ways that support our geospatial intelligence requirements. In other roles, he oversaw a generational evolution in the Navy's amphibious and patrol forces, and also the preparation of units for operational tasks in the Middle East, border protection, and humanitarian and disaster relief. Rear Admiral Hughes' dedication and commitment has been exemplary, and his contributions have been in the finest tradition of the Royal Australian Navy and the Australian Defence Force. Rear Admiral Stephen Hughes, appointed a member of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Jeanette Brown, for service to the performing arts. Mrs. Brown is one of those rare individuals who gives so much of her time to others. She's been a member of the Canberra Repertory Society for over 50 years and has been involved in more than 160 performances, including 25 years of old-time music hall. During that time, she's undertaken a range of roles, including wardrobe manager, costume designer and maker, front of house volunteer, events caterer and fundraiser. She's also contributed to our community through her tireless volunteer work for the Red Cross, particularly through the annual Door Knock Appeal. Mrs. Brown continues to build and sustain Canberra's local amateur theatre community, and through her efforts contributes to the cultural life of our city. Mrs. Jeanette Brown, awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Michael Lee, for service to education. Mr. Lee is an exceptional school principal who has served for almost 40 years as an educator. He is highly regarded as an effective principal and administrator and is credited with significantly strengthening his current school, St Mary MacKillop College. Mr Lee is a pioneer of inclusivity, openness and empathy in the Catholic education system. He is a strong advocate in his community and in the media for schools to live up to their values and offer a judgment-free place for schooling that focuses on social justice, a strong faith and excellent academic results. Mr Lee is passionate about the role education plays in shaping students and their potential to contribute to Australia's future. Mr Michael Lee awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs Barbara Rugandike for service to children as a foster carer, and Mr David Rugandike for service to the community and to children. Mr and Mrs Rugandike have provided a remarkable joint contribution to the community, particularly to children, through foster care, child protection and family support. For over 28 years, they have opened their home and given care and a safe, secure and nurturing environment to the youngest and most vulnerable members of our society, as well as support young mothers and their babies. In addition to parenting their own 5 girls, they have also adopted 4 children. They have fostered several disabled children with special needs and accepted without question young children declined by other carers because they were too challenging. Mr Rugandike has also provided dedicated service to the Cobargo Rural Fire Brigade and was previously an independent member of the ACT Legislative Assembly following a career with the Australian Federal Police. Mr and Mrs Rugandike have shared an overwhelming commitment to do whatever was necessary in the best interests of children in their care, and we are deeply indebted to them. Mrs Barbara and Mr David Rugandike awarded the Medal of the Order.
Slight bit of ballet here.
Awarded the Medal of the Order in the Military Division, Warrant Officer Richard Dory, for meritorious service to the Navy as an aircraft technician and as the course facilitator of the Chief Petty Officer and Warrant Officer promotion courses. Warrant Officer Dory has consistently contributed to the capability of the Fleet Air Arm through his technical mastery and willingness to train and mentor others. For the final years of the Sea King Mark 50 helicopter's operational service, he was vital to the maintenance of the ageing aircraft and its systems. As a flight senior maintenance sailor and later as the 808 Squadron Assistant Air Engineering Officer, he continued to enhance Navy's capability through the training of young technicians. He was also involved in the redesign and redevelopment of both the Chief Petty Officer and Warrant Officer promotion courses. This led to a number of major curriculum modifications designed to align structural, cultural and strategic realities of the current defence climate. Warrant Officer Dory is a professional leader whose training and mentoring of Navy people has been of the highest order. Warrant Officer Richard Dory awarded the Medal of the Order. We move now to the Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Lieutenant Commander Simone Patterson, for outstanding devotion to duty as Commanding Officer of HMAS Childers. Lieutenant Commander Patterson has made valuable contributions to Australia's border protection through her skills, knowledge and dedication as a leader in HMAS Childers. She utilised her extensive experience to improve the efficiency and competency of the entire patrol boat fleet as the lead planner for the sea phase of the 2021 patrol boat fleet concentration period. Her planning was directly contributed to ensuring the security of our borders and protecting our economic zone. Her leadership has also supported the ship's company in maintaining HMAS Childers in a constantly ready state for deployment, evidence when Childers was available to deploy at short notice to support Operation Savile. Lieutenant Commander Patterson's foresight has set a new crew standard for innovation and teamwork, enabling her ship to provide an available, sustainable and lethal asset for Joint Operations Command and the Border Protection Network. Lieutenant Commander Simone Patterson awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Commander Christopher McGregor, for meritorious devotion to duty in the field of Navy-guided weapons and explosive ordnance sustainment. Commander McGregor's drive, negotiation skills and influence across the Australian Defence Force have made an invaluable contribution to maintaining the effectiveness of our Navy's warships on operational service. In his role with the Maritime Integrated Warfare Systems Office, he ensured current and future weapons and munitions were commensurate with safety, operational capability and lethality requirements. As the head of the Standard Missile Technical Remediation Program, he articulated the operational impact to defence leadership, which resulted in an agreement to commit $212 million towards the program. He also developed a new gun round configuration for the Anzac-class frigates and Hobart-class destroyers. Commander McGregor's professionalism and dedication exemplify the Navy's core values and signature behaviours. Commander Christopher McGregor awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal.
Nice to it's nice to meet someone who could do something that I couldn't do.
Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Lieutenant Colonel Gareth Kemp. For meritorious devotion to duty as the Staff Officer Training of the Land Warfare Centre and Foundation Training Review Planner for the Royal Military College of Australia. Lieutenant Colonel Kemp has developed an extensive understanding of the Army training system gained from his roles in instructional, learning design and staff positions. During the first COVID-19 lockdown, he used the opportunity to drive the redesign of the Land Warfare Centre's learning management packages, which enabled the Centre's courses to be delivered throughout the lockdown. On his appointment to the Royal Military College in 2021, he assumed the position of Learning Design Expert for the Foundation Training Review and subsequently developed Army's first Foundation Capability Statement for soldiers and officers. Lieutenant Colonel Kemp's achievements will have a strategic effect on the future of our Army as the Royal Military College leads to the transformation of career training and education. Lieutenant Colonel Gareth Kemp awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. We move now to the Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Vanessa Del Mullen, for outstanding public service overseeing COVID-19 policy and intergovernmental relations during the ACT's COVID-19 response. Ms. Del Mullen provided vital support to the ACT community and to public health in her role overseeing COVID-19 policy and intergovernmental relations. She was vital to the development of the ACT's public health social measures, which were one of the three key pillars used to manage the COVID-19 outbreak prior to the availability of vaccines. The success of these measures and the willingness of the ACT community to comply contributed to the very low levels of COVID-19 in the ACT and the protection of our community. She also led the implementation of the Check-in Canberra app, a world-class tool that was subsequently adopted by other jurisdictions. Ms. Del Mullen has demonstrated unwavering dedication in the development of policy to support the ACT's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Ms. Vanessa Del Mullen awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Andrea Faulkner, for outstanding public service in leading Australia's embassy in Myanmar and commitment to advancing Australia's interests. Ms. Faulkner, in her role as Australian Ambassador to Myanmar from 2019 to 2022, demonstrated selfless leadership and compassion for others during her posting. Her duty of care for Australian embassy staff increased during the COVID-19 pandemic and during the military coup in February 2021. She demonstrated great resolve to ensure embassy staff were supported and made their welfare a top priority. Her commitment to promoting our nation's interests throughout her posting included advocacy with the Myanmar government and the military junta on several highly sensitive and complex diplomatic, consular and humanitarian issues, including the release of a detained Australian national. Ms. Faulkner's efforts were of the highest order and in keeping with the expectations, values and traditions of our diplomatic representatives serving overseas. Ms. Andrea Faulkner awarded the Public Service Medal. awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Jesse Alberton, for outstanding public service to public health as a clinical nurse consultant for the ACT Government COVID-19 vaccination program. Ms Alberton served as a clinical nurse consultant for the ACT Government's COVID-19 vaccination program. Under her clinical leadership, the vaccination service was able to respond to the pandemic and increase the delivery of vaccinations from 1,000 a day to 3,500 a day at the Australian Institute of Sport. Her efforts and dedication saw her directly assist the local community in reaching key national vaccination milestones and becoming one of the most vaccinated cities in the world. She also established processes for clinical safety for vaccine management and undertook the role as expert on the guidelines issued by the Australian Technical Advisory Group on immunisation. Ms Alberton's contribution to the ACT COVID-19 response was outstanding. In a time when most of the region was in lockdown, she went above and beyond to ensure the success of Canberra Health Services mandate and the safety of our community. Ms Jesse Alberton awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Tamara Rogers, for outstanding public service in communications and engagement as the Deputy Public Information Coordinator during the ACT's lockdown period. Ms Rogers demonstrated commitment and adaptability in the Public Information Coordination Centre during the ACT's lockdown in 2021. The Centre's primary responsibility was to deliver information to the community and the media during an unprecedented time for our citizens. She professionally supported the emergency response, including involvement with media conferences, social media posts, e-newsletters, and key public health information. She worked collegiately with the Chief Minister's Office, the ACT Health Minister, and the ACT Chief Health Officer to author the COVID-19 lockdown daily press conference and website updates. Ms Rogers played a vital role in coordinating the delivery public health directions so as to fully inform our community of the ACT Government's response to the pandemic. Ms Tamara Rogers awarded the Public Service Medal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations.
Well, we've acknowledged each of the recipients individually. I think it'd be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group. Congratulations to you all. Now to your homework. 3 issues we are trying to address in the Order of Australia at the present time. One is representation of women in the number of recipients. I'm pleased to say that we're on a very positive trajectory in relation to that. Numbers have improved significantly, and we have, I believe, the methodology in place to keep that there. Secondly, the multicultural representation in the Order of Australia. Again, it does not accurately reflect who we are as Australians today, and we have work in place at the present time to address that, and the numbers are gradually changing. And the third area is Indigenous representation in the Order of Australia, which is small at the present time, is growing, but we need to do more on that. How can you help? I go back to my previous comments, and this is your homework. You know people in the community who deserve to be recognised. I can't tell you how many times Linda and I travel around Australia, go into communities, and someone whispers in my ear that somebody in that community should be recognised for the work they've been doing. And my answer is nominate them. You know who these people are in your community. Please go back and nominate. I want to mark your homework. And the way that homework is marked is when someone comes through that door in subsequent years, if their nomination has been successful. So your system, and will be successful if you participate in it. Can I again acknowledge all and thank all our recipients for their contributions to our country. Again, to families, thank you for what you do in ensuring that people can make these contributions. This is very much your day, as I said previously, and we celebrate it with you. Linda, I now look forward to meeting you out there on the lakeside lawn when we socialise, celebrate. And one other thing I want to say to the recipients, I nearly forgot. Most people, 99.9% of the people who come through that door will tell me at some stage during the day they don't deserve the medal, they just do it, they don't do it for recognition and so on. That humility is wonderful. Today, set it aside. You have permission to boast, not brag, but boast, because your country is saying thank you to you. Again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, to assist with the homework that the Governor-General has set, I do encourage you to access the nomination form, which is available online at the Governor-General's website, www.gg.gov.au. It's a relatively simple process, and as the Governor-General has said, we look forward to welcoming those that have been successful through that process to an investiture such as this in the future. I now invite the recipients to join their Excellencies on the State Entrance stairs for an official photograph. Would you all please stand for the departure of Their Excellencies, the Governor-General and Mrs. Hurley.